Absolute Geezers, welcome to another episode of Football Is, and that is what I want, Tales of a Groundhopper. If you're new or old, do me a favour, have a look on the app if you're listening to this on Spotify and leave us a review on there. You can rate the podcast up to 5 stars, so if you are enjoying it, leave that review, share this with a friend, and let's get this show out there. Now enough of that shameful plug, on with the show. Absolute Geezers, welcome to another episode of Football Is, and that is what I want, Tales of a Groundhopper. I'm going to say it by his YouTube name because I just don't feel right calling him Mark. So I'm with Brooksy. How are you doing, Brooksy?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. How are you?
Fantastic, mate. Absolutely fantastic.
Excellent.
We had a bit of a... In fact, before we continue this, I would like to just wish you a happy 50th, mate. You told me it was your birthday off there. So I'm going to wish you a happy 50th, mate. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was last Thursday, so...
What's your secret, mate? You look younger than me, honestly. I look older than you.
All about, mate. Just keep spreading it on, you know.
We'll have to try that one. Honestly, Brooksy, it's absolutely brilliant having you on. I'm a massive fan. I watch all of your content there, and it's brilliant what you put up there. You really do give non-league a voice, and it's great to sort of be able to have a conversation with you tonight a bit about the game we love and a bit about what you do. So obviously, just give, for people who don't know what you do out there, just give a bit of a roundup of what you got there, mate.
Yeah, well, basically, I just go around to football grounds with a mobile phone, and you know, occasionally I'll rip Chris White off, who does around the grounds, and I might do a little tour around the ground before I start, and then I'll just commentate using my mobile phone, and that's it, really. You know, I call myself Mickey Mouse with a mobile phone because I'll never be any good to do it professionally, and nor would I want to be honest, because it's just a bit of fun.
I thought it was. Honestly, I was watching your footage, and I remember actually tweeting you once saying, "Hi mate, what camera do you use? It's really good quality." And you were like, "Oh, it's a Samsung," and I was like, "Oh,
yeah." Samsung S20, it's not even the latest one. So
it's spot on. And how did you get into doing it?
Now that's a story in itself. Well, for 20 years, from 95 to 2015, I worked at Aston Villa. Okay, and I was a press steward, so I looked after the press on a match day. And I often used to be by Tom Ross or you know, and just listen to them commentate and that, you know, and I thought, well, I wouldn't mind that, you know, I'd like to have a go at that, you know. I knew I couldn't do it like they could, you know, so and what happened was a friend of mine at Bowler Swift, so I got involved at Bowler Swift. My lad joined the under-12s there in the Midland Junior Premier League, and by doing that, I got into watching the first team. You know, the young kids were sort of mascots and that, and ball boys, and I got to watch a few first teams, and that's how I properly got into non-league football.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine was going on holiday who did the programme. And he said, "Would you do the match report on the next game?" And I thought, yeah, well, I'll do that. Because often when I was in the press box, you get members of the press say, because they were writing stuff down, "Oh, who passed that to that? Who passed to Agbonlahor and for the goal?" And so I thought, rather than try and remember that and writing down and perhaps missing stuff while the game's going on, I thought I'd film it on the phone and just sort of commentate what's going on. And it sounded awful, to be honest, but I put it on Facebook, and the lads loved it, and it caused a lot of good banter in the dressing room.
Really?
And that's how it started, purely by accident. So I didn't have any intention of doing it, just purely by accident. And yeah.
It's brilliant, mate, because I don't know if you've had this happen. I've had it happen before when I've been sort of at a ground, sort of filming away, and it was what I was watching. Who was I watching? Hormond against. Oh Christ, I can't remember their name now. It'll come back to me. But anyway, a penalty was given, and I'm there with a tripod, and I'm filming on me. And the away team who conceded the penalty, and a few of the lads who travelled down who didn't get a kit on, all raced down the stand to me and went, let us see it again. I need to see it again. Is that definitely a penalty? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do here? So to be fair, I played it back. They watched it and they're like, yeah, it is a penalty. Okay, yeah, cheers, mate, and off you go. And it's like, I mean, you'll understand this more than a lot of people who sort of film the game. There's nothing worse than when you're filming it and someone comes up and goes, "So, what you doing, mate? Are you?" And then they start having a full blown conversation. You're like, "Yeah, mate, I'm just trying to. Can I just?" And it's just like, "Oh Christ, how do you do it without being rude?"
I don't actually mind that, I mean, what I do is carry on commentating, and then I'll just say, "Oh, I'm ever so sorry about that," and he says, "Oh no, normally everyone's fine about it." Something happened. I love speaking to people. It's great. It's great to have conversations with different people.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well, is like, again, being new to sort of non-league football myself, sort of the last 2 or 3 years. I remember going to watch a game and sort of filming, and this bloke come up and started talking, and I was so, is it arrogant or is it ignorance? Perhaps ignorance, I'd say. You sort of think, oh, here we go. I've got one ear. Who's bloody going on. And this guy knew everything about Tiverdale. That's who I was watching. And he knew everything. And by the end of it, I was like, Christ almighty, what a great bloke. And the knowledge that these people have. And you sit there, you come into non-league, and again, so you're used to Aston Villa, I'm used to United. And you don't realise that there's people that follow these clubs and it is their life. And it's like baptism of fire. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, the passion people have over their football clubs is just, it's amazing. And I'm not just talking about people who've been there years, as now. There's a guy, Lee Measham at Hinckley AFC, and he's so passionate. He's to the point where he was filming games and then decided not to because he just wanted to support his football team. But occasionally he'd go to places like Happiston or Nuneaton Griff and film them there instead. There's some terrific people around in non-league football.
Completely agree with that. Completely agree. They, in fact, actually, it's not just people who watch it; it's people involved with the clubs as well, isn't it? They're just great people. You meet so many great characters in the game, and I think people who don't watch non-league football are missing out, because they're fantastic. Absolutely love them. The game isn't the same without them, is it?
No, I mean, people obviously. Majority of people will follow a professional team, or even a team, like Tamworth, for example. If Tamworth haven't got a game, go and watch Coates Green or Bowl or Swifts. Give it a go. Because it is absolutely, it's wonderful. It really is.
Completely agree with that, mate. Echo that completely. Love it. And people, if you are listening and you have not gone to a non-league game ground, I don't know why you're listening to this, actually, because it's obviously not what you do. But if you are, get yourself to your closest non-league game. It's you won't regret it. But okay, on with the questions, mate. I'm looking forward to these. So again, for people who are new to the show, last couple of seasons I've done the same 10 questions, and I just got to a point where I sat and I thought, this is a bit samey. People, I think, are just going through the motions. People are always going to ask this question next. So I thought, throw it up a little bit. Got a whole new bunch of questions generated randomly, so they're all in different orders. So no two shows are the same. So I've got some good ones with you, Brooks. I'm really excited with these ones. So I'll start off with this one. What club would you say has been the most welcoming to you?
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's a bitchy question, that is.
Isn't it?
Do you know what? And it's going to be a sort of cliche, boring answer, really. But the majority of clubs I've made, there's obviously Bowler, Swifts, Happiston Town, Lichfield City, the two Hinckley clubs, Hinckley AFC and Hinckley Leicester Road. Paget Rangers, Romulus, I don't want to miss anyone. Rockton's a fantastic club in Staffordshire, as is Stafford Town. In fact, there's New Toxteth Town. There's some brilliant clubs. I mean, I went to Hanley. I've been to Hanley. I think it's 4 times in 4 different seasons. Not particularly. I think there was one occasion I didn't watch Hanley Town. It was to go there for cup final, and the people there are wonderful. They're absolutely terrific. And Hanley, obviously, I I want Lichfield a second at the moment. I'd love Lichfield to win the league, but you know, if only can go on and win the league, which I suspect they might, I couldn't be more pleased for them. It's a terrific club.
Yeah, I think.
But yeah, but you know, I mean, yeah, Lichfield. Again, Lichfield City. I mean, Darren Lever, the chairman there, he's one of the most fantastic guys you ever wish to meet, not just in football, and he's so enthusiastic and passionate. You know, I love going there just for him, really. You know, and Liam, you know, Darren and Liam, the vice chairman. I love going there just for them. You know, it's a hell of a lot of pleasure. You know.
Yeah, lovely setup. I've been to Lichfield. I went, as we said off air. I watched them a couple of times, a couple of years ago. Great setup there, great guys there, and they're run really well, aren't they? They're really well run.
Yeah. It's an absolutely terrific club. It's a proper community club. Yeah. I mean, they've got you know, kids ages, boys and girls, all the way down. They've got a vets team there. The under 21s, which I film whenever I can. 2 ladies teams. I've got Lichfield City Ladies and Lichfield City Ladies Reserves, and the people there and the players themselves are absolutely terrific as well. You know, it's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure going to Lichfield City. And
it's actually a really good answer, Brooksy, because to be honest, I don't think I've ever been to I've been to one non-league ground where I felt a bit, I don't know, I felt like they mocked me a little bit, I kind of felt like, and for what I was doing, and I kind of walked away from that and thought, you know what, I'm not gonna, you know, it's just one bad experience, you know, masked by, to be honest, a hell of a lot of good ones. And you're so right. Yeah. Most of I'd say 99.9999% of non-league clubs are so happy to have you there, and are so happy to have your money across the bar, because it goes so far, doesn't it? It really does. You can see exactly where it's going. And I think you're so right there. You know, you don't have to pick one club. I think you're right. There's so many out there that are well run and just love having fans there.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, like yourself, I've had people have a go at me, but I'm one of these people who actually love it. I love the wind up, to be honest. You know, if I wind people up with, you know, some people say, oh, your voice gets on my nerves. Great.
Have you ever had anyone say about match of the day to you? I had one group of lads go, oh, you think you're match of the day filming this game? And I was like, nah, mate, I'm far too popular for match of the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get, but yeah, I mean, like I say, I just don't mind, you know. But some people have a go. I've been called nonce. I've been called all sorts of things, you know. But I just, whatever. Yeah. You know, life's too short. I'm going to bloody enjoy myself, and that's it. You know, so.
Here. Completely agree with you on that one, mate. Spot on. Okay, with regards to grounds, then, what's the first ground you ever went to?
In professional football or non-league or either?
I'll take both. Let's go both.
Okay, well, my first experience of professional football was at the Hawthorns, West Bromwich Albion.
Okay.
My mum's younger brother was a big Baggies fan, and my father's best friend was also a big Baggy fan. So I went with both of them, you know, to the, I don't know, is it the Halford Lane, the one opposite the Rainbow Stand at West Brom? I don't know, but it was in there, and my dad's friend used to take me in the Woodman's Corner.
Okay, yeah.
Just a little corner of the ground at the Hawthorns. And it was late, about 79, I'd say, 1979. And Albion were a superb side in them days. You know, they had Batson, Cunningham and Regis. You know, I used to feel really special going to the Albion, because in them days, to have 3 black players in the same side was, to have 1 black player was unusual. But there were people like Viv Anderson about at that time for Forest, but I felt really special going to the Albion to watch these 3 black players. I thought it was wonderful, and Phil Regis became a real idol of mine.
Cult hero, wasn't he? Cult hero.
Yeah, you know. So and they did that. You know. People forget there was Brian Robson there. Yeah. Tony Bomber Brown, Ali Brown, Tony Godden in goal. Derek Stavum, who I thought was actually better at fullback than Kenny Sansom, who was in the England side at the time. And it was a terrific. It was brilliant. Spot
on. What about your non-league side of it?
Non-league. I mean, I'm from Sutton Coldfield.
Okay.
So I think that it was either Bournemouth, St Michael's, or Sutton Coldfield Town was my first non-league. I can't quite remember.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I was certainly there when Sutton Coldfield Town played Manchester United as a ball boy, because I played for Sutton Town Boys.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So I was a ball boy for that, and they, I think it was a friend. They might have been to open the floodlights or something like that. I think Mark Hughes was there. Possibly to open the floodlights. I may have got that wrong, but it was something like that. It was a long time ago, about 1981, I think.
A few years before me, mate. Now you are showing your age.
Yeah.
Okay, I love this one. In fact, you're the first person I've asked this. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. How do you spot a groundhopper?
How do you spot a groundhopper? Wow. One giveaway, I think, is if you see a load of badges on the hat or scarf. You know, and Craig does it on Newton TV. He's got the badges on his Villa hat or something, you know. And that's why. Another one is a rucksack.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because obviously these guys travel a hell of a lot, you know.
Massively.
And yeah, I don't know really. And usually they come in twos.
They do, yeah, groups. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
you know, so if you see them with badges and a rucksack, and you know, they tend to always ask for a program.
Yeah.
And I mean, unfortunately, because of COVID, not a lot of clubs are doing programs at the moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know Lichfield Downs, and the amount of disappointing faces you get from groundhoppers. They do T-sheets, but not the programs.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, but I mean, when I first got into sort of going to non-league, I'd always spot them with a pad and a piece of paper for the ones who obviously don't have the Footballogy app, who still write it down and list it down. I remember seeing someone doing it one day. I thought, oh, what's he doing? And I honestly thought at first he was watching the ref. He was marking the ref. So I went over and I said, oh, are you watching the ref? He said, no, I'm a groundhopper. And I said, I'm sorry, a what? And then he explained it, and that's how I sort of got into seeing what groundhopping is. And you do. It's brilliant. And what I love is that you've still got that mix of the younger generation who take it on now, who really some of them fly with it. There's a couple of guys I know. One lad called Gibbo who just he's all over the place with it. And but then I love the fact that you still have the older generation, the older boys, who go there with their pens and I love that. I love that. It's the romantic side of football. I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Well, okay. This is, I mean, Christ, we're talking about bitchy. This is going to be bitchy. But what ground did you find the biggest letdown?
Bloody hell.
You're going to have you black marks from some clubs.
Oh no, this is terrible. And I hope they're not offended by it. Because in fairness, it's probably not their fault, as I don't think it's their ground. But I went to Lane Head to that this season to watch Bowler Swifts, and I think it used to be the Bloxwich United old ground, and it was only one-sided.
Oh right, okay.
And I was really, because I got a stand behind the one goal, but I think it's condemned.
Right.
You know, and it's a shame because inside the club, it's a nice little clubhouse. The people are really nice, but for me, ground should at least be three-sided.
Yeah.
And you know, there's one ground I haven't been to that I've obviously seen on videos like Gresley where they can't do anything about it because the one's just a brick wall. I think it's basically like a brick wall, but yeah. I mean, it was still great to go, and I still enjoyed going to that ground. But I was expecting a bit more.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's a hard question to answer because you don't want to offend anyone, do you? I mean,
no.
Mine was Oldham. Oldham, I thought, what? It was just a horrible stadium. It was half painted. I'll never forget the roof was half painted, and I looked and I was just like, oh, this is a professional football, supposedly professional football.
Yeah,
that's for another bloody conversation, but. I just looked and I thought, oh Christ, you feel for the fans because they stand there and they must, look at the ground and think, oh, it looks a mess. And yeah, for me it was Oldham. I was just so disappointed for a club that was in League One, and I think there should be standards that you should.
Well, it was in the Premier League back in sort of '92.
It was, yeah.
I mean, from a professional point of view, and you like this one. The ground that really disappointed me was Anfield.
Really?
Liverpool, yeah. I got and had a look at the Kop, and I couldn't believe how small it was. I thought, is that it? You know, because I mean, at Villa you got the Holt End, and it's it's huge, and you go to somewhere like Sheffield Wednesday, and that's huge as well. Their Kop End, I think theirs is the Kop End, I think, and yeah, but Liverpool really disappointed me. I thought, oh, yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm not bothered about that. So. Okay, so I mean, you've just probably got under thousands of Liverpool fans' skins there. Who am I kidding? Thousands of thousands. They get thousands listening. Let's talk about a player that you've seen live that really gets under your skin.
Oh, there's no doubt about this one. I mean, if you're talking the professional game, I'd probably say Robbie Savage.
I knew you were going to say that. The second you mentioned Villa, I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, spoken to him since he retired, and when he was in the press, he's one of the nicest guys you ever wish to meet. Oh God, yeah. Really, he's confident. Don't get me wrong. He's such a nice guy, and he's got time for people. He's not one of these arrogant, I'm Robbie Savage, who are you? He's a really nice person as well,
That's brilliant. That is.
Yeah, I've actually got a lot of time for him. But it's happened to me a few times, where you have one opinion of people, and then it suddenly changes. I did with Steve Staunton. I remember, because I used to, at the end of the game at Villa, I used to have to deal with what we called the mix zone, and it's where the written press went, and I had to try and encourage the players to go in.
Yeah.
And this one game, there was only Dion Burton and Steve Staunton left, and it was about 10:10 at night. It was a midweek game, and they said, "Is there any chance you can just go and ask them whether they're prepared to talk?" And I thought, "Oh God, here we go," because they called Stan Steve Staunton Mr. Miserable. And I thought, why, mate?
He did always look miserable. He did always.
Yeah, so I knock on the dressing room door. I poke my head in, and Steve Staunton and Dion Dublin are sitting there. And I said, "Sorry to disturb you, gents. Is there any chance you speak to the press?" And Steve Staunton just stared at me. He just quite frightened me, to be honest. And I mean, Dion was good as gold. He said, "No, I don't want to do it tonight." And I said, "Yeah, that's fine, And I just went back and I said, "I don't think they're going to do it, lads." Yeah.
Steve Staunton. Oh, what a killjoy! What a killjoy!
But in fairness, when I used to help out behind the bowler Swiss, and his son was playing for a side who were playing against Bowler in an under-18s game, and he was nice as pie, So your people can have bad days as well, can't they? So you don't know what people are going through in their lives, and you have to try and sort of
That's hilarious. The whole thing about, do you know what, with Robbie Savage, I'll be completely honest, he's a player I've always said to my mates, you hate him playing against you, but you want him on your side.
Oh, absolutely.
One of them, isn't he? He's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I was there when it's Dion Dublin headbutted him.
Yeah.
To be honest, and he loves it, But there's little things he did in the game as well. Where the one thing made me laugh, where the ball was on the floor, and he went onto the floor and just headed it back to the keeper.
Yeah.
There's little things. He was just he's a fantastic character, and I think we lack that now a little bit in the professional game.
You took the words out of my mouth there, mate. I honestly feel like people like the Robbie Savages of the world, they're just dying out. Football is becoming so serious in the professional level, to the point where I think players are almost terrified to have that personality now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Put
themselves out there to fail. I tell you what, also I will say about him before we move on. I got choked up. I'll be honest, when they let him announce his lad was coming onto the field for United, because you could just hear the pride in his voice, and it was like, I remember he said something along the lines of, before the game, "Don't judge him as Robbie Savage. Robbie Savage's son. He's a player in his own right. He's earned this. He's done." And I thought, what a lovely thing to hear. You know, the feeling there.
I can understand that myself, because I mean, as I mentioned earlier, my son Harry played for Bowl Swiss under-12s, and he's gone on to play for the first team.
Oh,
you know, that pride you have as a father, and you know, step 6, it's not the great, but it's still a decent level of football.
It's the highest level I've ever played, mate.
Yeah, well, me too. You know, and the pride I had, you know, I just felt my heart bursting out my chest. You know, it was great.
No.
You know, I probably don't often tell him that enough, you know, but yeah, he's and he's gone on to make 38 appearances as well.
That's brilliant.
And so far, you know, so I hope he makes a few more. But
is he enjoying it?
Yeah, well, they get girlfriends and everything else. He's you know, I think he's played 8 times this season, you know, but yeah, he scored as well against Bromsgrove, against Paul Smith's Bromsgrove, when they went on that season. They were the Invincibles, where they didn't lose a game. He scored against Chris J, I think it was, who's a class goalkeeper as well. You know, so that, to do that, I just thought, lost 6-2, but you know, I mean, it was great.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely love that. With regards to grounds, now, can you name a ground that you really want to check off your list of grounds to go to that you haven't been able to go to yet?
Yeah, it's embarrassing as well, because it's literally 20 minutes away from where I live.
Oh no, Brooksy, come on now.
Honestly, I know, but it's Chasetown.
Really?
Yeah, I'd love to go to Chasetown. I'm determined to do it this season. I mean, Jay Hawkins is there as assistant now. And you know, there's a lot of players that I know that I used to film regularly, like Liam Curtin, Jordan Evans, Joey Butlins there. And yeah, I've really got to do that. I mean, I don't often go to anything below, anything above, rather, step 5, and they are step 4. But I've got to go to Chasetown. I'd love to go to Chasetown.
Oh, do you know what though, mate? I'll be honest. I love that answer, because, you know, and this isn't a bad thing about people who but you know, people choosing, like, you know, I don't know, Wembley or Turin or anything like that, and I'm like, oh, just that's what I love. That's the ground hopping bit I love. That is.
Yeah.
We won't hold it against you. It's 20 minutes up the road, mate.
It's a disgrace, mate. I should have. I'll tell you what happened. I was following it in the Google app, and it just come up with 21 minutes, and I thought, oh, that's embarrassing. And I was going to go there, and then on Twitter, on what's Max's Emma's ground guide? Is it? Yeah.
Emma's ground guide.
When he put something kind of about Sherwood Colliery, and I thought, it looked absolutely fantastic. I thought I could do Chasetown anytime, and while I'm off work, I ended up going there. So I just missed out then. But that was, yeah, Sherwood Colliery was a great round. I love that as well.
Oh, Max's Emma's ground guide. Oh, I say it on the show all the time. He's a bloody wizard. How he gets his missus to go to all these grounds.
Oh,
and
she's a genius.
She's pictured with a pint as well, and I'm like,
yeah.
Christ.
I mean, I've had to be single 15 years for me to be able to do it.
I'll tell you what, mate, honestly, this sounds really bad. It is tough when I mean, like, my wife, bless her, I've managed to drag her to one game, but
yeah,
tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
Definitely tough.
I'm glad I ain't got one anymore, mate. I'll be totally honest. I've become way too selfish to be able to get into a relationship now, I think. So
I'll be honest, mate. I keep my eye out for Aid Max on the New Year's honours lists. He's got to get a knighthood, surely.
Yeah,
what a guy.
No, and his blogs are brilliant, aren't they? I love his content. I think it's terrific. I really do.
It's do you know what? I try and say this right, sounding condescending, and I hope Max doesn't take it that way. But it's also seeing his progression over the last couple of years. I'm not saying when he started he was bad, because he started he's brilliant, but it just seems to be getting better and better and better. The blogs, I love him, absolutely love him. He's a great bloke as well, and Emma, of course, you know, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, with regards to ground hopping,
I'm
asking you to create me a ground hopping kit, right? And I want 3 things in there so I can sell it on Amazon. What are you putting in there?
Right. Well, you've got to have a phone, haven't you?
Gotta have a phone. Yeah, completely.
Got to have a phone because you've got your location, so you can get directions to get to the ground by walking.
Yeah.
That will also give you a ground hopping app if you want to tick it off. And what else? A flask.
A flask.
Because not all grounds will have catering or refreshments. Sometimes you're surprised. You get there and you're starving and you think, oh, I'll get something at the ground, and there's nothing there. So I think a flask and some sandwiches. And obviously to carry all that, a rucksack, so you can have your waterproofs and your gloves and whatever.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm taking that. I'm going to. I'll take the copyright for that as well, mate. So I'll just give you a share of the profits. It is though, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The question, like, you know, people always say to me when they talk about groundhoppers that don't know it, they're like, "Well, what do they turn up with?" And I'm like, "Well, they're not. You know, they don't turn up like paparazzi. You know, all huddled together. These people take it serious, and they do have essentially a groundhopping kit, don't they? Really."
I'm taking you with me, mate, because the dog wants to go out.
That's all right, mate. We're on the move. It is the first groundhopping first.
Wait. Come here, mate. Yeah. I've got this little, she's 14 and go on then, go on. There you go. Just wait for her to come back in now.
A ground hopping first, brilliant. We've gone for a walk with the dog as well. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so with regards, now you got me going. With regards to players that you've watched live, can you name me a player that you've watched live and always kept an eye out for ever since watching them?
Oh, there's loads in non-league because you know, Bowler, Atherstone, Lichfield, I've filmed them on regular occasions, and to be honest, a lot of them I follow people like Joe Obi. I think I've filmed more Joe Obi goals than anyone. You know, but yeah, Steve Arctic, Gresley, fantastic striker. You know, Alex Norton at Atherstone. Yeah, I follow quite a few, to be honest. I'm always interested in people I've filmed, and you know, Dave Yonwin has scored a lot of goals. I've got Matty Gardner, has been at probably 78 different clubs. But
for Swifts, for the Stockport Swifts.
Oh, he's gone from there now, mate. He's on to his fourth club. I think he's back at Kerry's Turn at the moment. But honestly, he's a terrific lad, really great lad. Yeah, so I do. But I mean, I'd say if I was to pick anyone, probably Joe Obi because of the amount of goals, and you know, again, a superhuman being as well with it. So
spot on. I've always been the one I always kept my eye out for years and years ago was because I mean I live in Wellington, so Telford, and I remember when Telford went bust again, and they got Kyle Perry, who come and just scored an absolute bucket load, and I've always kept my eye on him ever since. And I had him on a show not so long ago, but lovely guy. But I've always kept my eye out for him. It's funny how
I think he's back at Nuneaton Borough now.
Yeah, literally just signed last week.
Yeah.
Always scores goals as well wherever he goes, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've seen him last year. He was at Studley, believe it or not, at Step 6. Yeah, last season.
I think I remember speaking to you about that.
Yeah, he nearly got himself sent off in the game against Lichfield, but he's a top player, isn't he? He really is.
Great,
ridiculous at Step 6.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a new question. I'm looking forward to this one. So, if you could play for any non-league club that you've watched live, who would it be and why?
Oh, I'd say probably Bowler Swifts.
Yeah.
For the simple fact that was what got me into non-league football.
Yeah.
You know, so and it's a terrific club. It's bottom of the league at Step 7 at the moment in the Midland Football League Division 2. But yeah, I'd say Bowler Swifts.
I love that. It's and it's a question that because I want to get a lot of groundhoppers to sort of answer this one, because you do go to clubs and you do sort of, you know, like I get bantered for Dudley Town, but if I was I'd love to play for Dudley Town because I just love the camaraderie they have, the brotherhood they have, and I think, you know, to be able to be involved in a club like that, it's just love it, absolutely love that. Good answer.
Yeah, I mean, I have a look at their results because Todd Perry plays for them.
Lovely guy.
Really. Oh, he's a great guy. And he played probably about 30 odd games for Bowler Swifts. He wasn't there long, but such a nice guy. And then he was at Lichfield for quite a while as well, you know. So yeah, I do like to sort of follow what Todd's doing as well.
Oh, he just seems to get. He seems. Do you know what? I don't know how it is, but he's just in such good shape for his age as well. He's putting.
He's got to be about 58, isn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
He's been around a long time. I think I've got Accrington Town programs at 2004 when he was playing for them. You know, he's yeah, fantastic centre half though. Honest centre half. You know.
Yeah, definitely, completely agree with that.
I'm fed up for waiting for the dog. It's too cold. I'm just going to leave the door open.
Well, to be fair, mate, we're on the last question, and this one I'm looking forward to with you. And it's describe for me ground hopping in 3 words.
Oh, 3 words. I've wrote this down. Yeah, I'd say frustrating.
Yeah.
It can be very frustrating, especially if you get to a ground and it's been called off at the last minute. I mean, that's infuriating. That's happened a few times, believe you me. I'd say very rewarding.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because I get so much out of it. I love the fact that, because everywhere I go, I mean, the clubs are fantastic with me, and I'm just not talking Lichfield. Every single club have offered me free entry and free this and free that. And I always pay because I'm giving back to non-league football.
I agree with you completely.
And I find that rewarding that I'm helping non-league football. Yeah, satisfying as well.
It is. Yeah.
So it's just, you know, it's great, you know. I just didn't look much into the dictionary, to be honest. But
I like it. No, but the thing is, the 3 you've said, I completely agree with. I can't fault any of it. It really is frustrating, definitely.
Yeah,
it can be frustrating. You'll have games when you'll know more than me, Brooksy, but you'll have games when you stood there and you're getting absolutely hammered down with rain. It's windy. You can't feel your fingers, and you stood there thinking, "I love this. It's bloody freezing, but I love what I'm doing." And it is frustrating sometimes, you know, but I agree, and rewarding without a doubt. It really is. And do you know what? Like I touched on at the start, when you pay your £3, £4 admission, your £1.50 for your cup of tea, your £1 for a program, you buy a sausage roll or a pie, whatever, you know that money's going back to the club, and that's what I love. And I implore everyone I implore to go and support your non-league club and give your money where it's appreciated. Because grassroots football, without grassroots football, there is no Man United, there is no bloody Aston Villa, there's no England. It's where the heart of football is, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, if you can buy a program, because these clubs that are doing programs, so much effort is going into these programs. And you know, I'm not much of a program collector, I've got to admit. I tend to give them to Jason at Chelsea Town because he's got a program business, you know, after I've read them, because I just don't worry about keeping them. You know, I'm not one of these people either who will sort of count how many grounds I've gone to. You know, I just love what I'm doing and just go with the flow.
Yeah, I completely agree. No, love it, mate. I tell you what, Brooksy, I've loved this. In fact, I look how quick the time's gone as well. It feels like we've literally just started. So you know, what that tells me one of two things: either that you're a quick and smooth talker, and also I need to get you on again, mate. Definitely.
I'll do it anytime, mate. No problem at all there.
Excellent. Well, before I let you go, can you please let the people know, the good people know, where to find you on your socials there, mate, please?
It's just Twitter at Brooksy TV, and YouTube is Brooksy TV as well. So yeah, that's.
Don't do what I did, mate. I know tagged. It was lucky I looked. I went to tag you on Instagram. I put Brooksy TV, and it come up with this young Model S bloke, and I thought.
Yeah, that was me, mate.
Oh, was you? That's all right then. That's fine. That's all right. And I'll go back and tag you.
I wouldn't even know what to do with Instagram, mate. Harry had to go and do the put Zoom on my phone, mate. I didn't have a clue what to do.
Mate, honestly, I'm the same with it. I'm trying to get myself to post as much as I can on Instagram at the moment because my wife tells me that's where the youngsters are at, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a youngster. So no, we'll get there one day, mate. We'll have to go on a social media course, I reckon.
I've got to learn. There's a program called Adobe apparently, which you can do your videos on. Because I only use Windows Movie Maker, and it's so confusing how to go on it. I couldn't get my head around it at all. So I'd love to go. I might go on a course, and you know, so you can put the teams up as you know, and do the replays as you're speaking and all that kind of thing. You know,
you know what? It's the Bristol City gifts that I'd love to be able to do. You know, in the Bristol City, like when there's a goal and they come up and they're doing something. I'd love to do that, but I've searched all over bloody YouTube to find out how to do it. That's I just can't get anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Well, mate, honestly, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Guys, if you are new to the channel and you have enjoyed what you've been listening to, I certainly have enjoyed it. Make sure you hit subscribe and give us a follow. And make sure you follow Brooksy TV. It really is worth it. You'll see some cracking goals on there. You always seem to get some cracking goals on there, don't you? You really do.
Oh, mate, I've been really lucky. I really have. Yeah, you know, the talent that's about in non-league is frightening, and I just feel, you know, there's obviously a lot of players from abroad now in the football league and the Premier League.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of these guys just don't get the opportunity, and you know, it's a shame.
They filter down. But
Yeah.
I mean, there are the success stories of some of them coming back up. So long may that continue.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much, mate. As always, to everybody who's watching / listening, I will say it until I'm blue in the face. Be thinkers, not stinkers. Sayonara. Au revoir.